we just got some randomer off the street, but she's got quite a posh name, so we thought we might get her on, we thought we might get her on the show.
It'll be fine.
Imagine if you were Welsh, you would have an even longer name.
I know. We'd be here for hours.
It would be, yeah. You'd be like that big name that's on that famous, there's a famous, I've been to it, a famous railway station in Wales.
Yeah.
You've probably seen the image. It goes on for, anyway, right. Hello everyone and welcome to Drumbeg Studio Podcast with myself, as always, Michael Lumbey. How are we doing this week? Welcome to the show. If I say welcome one more time, I'm going to have to put another pound in that welcome jar that I've got over in the corner there. Anyway, in this week's show, we're going to be chatting to Perth-based actress Victoria Compson-Bradford. I know it's a mouthful, but she is an absolute fantastic guest. Don't you worry about that. We will also have music later on in this week's show by Peplo and Moonlight Zoo. But this is Spylaw with Disco Mary. Wow, that's the amazing sound of Edinburgh-based band Spylaw here on Drumbeg Studio Podcast with Disco Mary. Well, what do you say after that? A very much a trumpet rock-driven track, an anthem by Spylaw there, Disco Mary, which was released on all your digital media platforms of today on the 10th of April this year. So definitely go make a note of this song and check it out in your own time. I think it's absolutely fantastic. All I want to say, guys, many thanks for sending over that fantastic track and let me play that on my show. I'm absolutely loving it. If you can't tell, I think it's fantastic. Right, now it is time to meet this week's special guest. This week's special guest is actress and singer Victoria Compson-Bradford. Victoria, welcome to the show.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
How are you doing today?
Good. Yeah. Just had a coffee, so I'm nice and energized for my morning, ready to chat.
That's what we want to hear. Nice, energetic. So none of this laying back and relaxing. We want to be on the ball this morning, okay?
Exactly. Right on it. Woo.
So, Victoria, growing up, what was your childhood dreams like as a youngster? And perhaps did you have a childhood hero that was maybe lingered around the dreams as well?
So, growing up, I was like very indecisive. I'm pretty indecisive as a grown up as well, but I couldn't ever decide what I wanted to do. And like one day I was like, I'm going to be a doctor. And one day I was like, I'm going to be a fireman. And I just was like completely changing every couple of days what I wanted to do. And yeah, so I could never ever pinpoint exactly which one I wanted to do. And that's why I wanted to go into acting. Because I think it was the only job in the whole world that I could think of that I could be every single job. Because I was like, if I'm an actor, I can just pretend to be a fireman and pretend to be a doctor and pretend to be all these things I've always wanted to be. And I could just do it without the training. So that was my idea, to go off and do these things. Because I just couldn't decide on which one I wanted to do. But it was, I'm trying to think. And for like a hero, I guess, I've been very surrounded by women in my family. Was obviously my mum, and then we've got three sisters.
Mm-hmm.
And my two older sisters are both in the arts and trained in various things. And my mum is a very, very strong woman. And I think for me, seeing my sisters and my mum go out and do what they were doing every day, that really inspired me to like do what I wanted to do and follow the path that I love. And not be held back by that, because I had these strong women ahead of me paving the way before I did. So it was such a confidence boost to have these women in my life who were really strong and allowed me to be a strong woman in myself.
Yeah, no, very good, very good. Personal sort of heroes that are, as you said, grown up around you, which is fantastic. Much better than, say, a famous role model or anything like that. Yeah. At what point, Vicky, then did you start to maybe take obviously you talked about the early dreams of thinking I wanted to be this and this, and think, well, if I want to be them, I could become an actress, and that's how I could be them all. But when sort of early in your life, or what age were you when you started to think that you wanted to take a really strong interest in the performing aspect, that you thought maybe this could be something that I could possibly make a career out of?
So I was actually quite young. I started doing classes and stuff when I was like 3 years old, because I started doing dance classes at a local dance school in Perth, Julie Young Dance School. And I started there really young. And I did all the way up to there. And then when I was about 13 years old, I auditioned for the Dance School of Scotland.
Okay.
Which my older sister had gone to before as to train on their dance course. And I applied for their musical theatre course. And I think that was the first kind of point for me that I was like, oh, well, maybe I can do this. And I went there on their preparatory theatre course, where there was just 5 of us. And we did that for 2 years. And then you graduate onto their musical theatre course, where there was about 20 of us in total and then the year above and the year below. Mm-hmm. And so I kind of realized very early on that what I wanted to do was perform. And also my eldest sister is an actor, and the sister below that is a dancer. So I already have a family who are in the arts. So from that, I had a kind of knowledge that it could be done if you were willing to really work hard, and had a kind of expectation of what it would take to get into that field. So I kind of worked that out relatively young, at 13 or so. I was like, okay, this is what I want to do. I'm going to move away from home because the Dance School of Scotland's in Glasgow.
Mm-hmm.
So I was there 5 days a week, and then I'd come home at the weekends. So move away from home, live in boarding school, and just focus on this. Obviously, we had to do like maths and English and all the less fun stuff. But we then we'd do a maths class and we'd do a maths class, and then we'd have to go to do ballet for an hour, and then we'd go do, I don't know, drama, and then we'd go do an acting class, and then we'd go do biology, and then we'd have classes after school. So it was a very weird experience growing up in your kind of like formative years around just the arts, creating in the arts, but also I was like living in a house with 90 other kids at boarding school. And all of us were just a bit mad because we were all artists or dancers or musicians. So it was a very interesting development time.
Very interesting. Now, as you were talking about at the beginning about the role models of having the women that you had around you, I mean, that obviously having an older sister who you said was going to be doing acting, and obviously another one who's doing dancing, that again must give you a massive confidence boost to sort of almost look up to them and think, well, if they can doing that, they've come from the same family as me. Why can't I get into that? And obviously that's a massive sort of boost for you and to get you into it. Yeah,
it's a massive boost. It also means that there's people that you can talk to, because the arts can be very difficult, just because it is such a competitive field, and so much of it is not reliant. There's a lot reliant on skill, but it's an opinion-based field, realistically.
Yeah.
So one person could love you and one person could hate you. So it's nice to have people around you who understand it, but also people around you who can understand that like you can go in any path that you want. My elder sister started off as an actor, and now she is a vocal coach, and that's what she does and that's what she loves. But she had to take a path to get there, and sometimes the best bits are amazing, but the worst bits are also the most informative bits of your life. So it's nice to see somebody who's paved that way and gone through the ups and the downs and everything, to know it's okay to go through those moments where it's a bit rubbish.
Yeah, definitely. We're going to be catching up with Vicky in just a bit, but we're going to take a break now for some great music. This is fantastic. This is Peplo with Katrina's Got My Tongue.
Oh, Katrina's got my tongue, and I don't want it back. Yeah, Katrina's got my tongue, and I don't want it back. No, I don't want it back. The cold is never so hard beneath the flagpoles. It's what you say, I saw when cars collide.
It's the amazing voice of Sit Linux here on Drumberg Studio Podcast with Peplo, their latest single, Katrina's Got My Tongue. That song was released on all your digital music platforms of today, this year, on the 5th of June. So make a note of it and stream it in your own time on your chosen platform. Peplo only actually formed 2 years ago, back in 2018, with the intention of cutting classic pop songcraft with an alternative edge. And I think in that song, they've clearly done it. It's absolutely incredible. All I want to say is many thanks, guys, for letting me play that song, sending it over and letting me play it on my show. I think it's fantastic. I really hope it's going down well with your fans and wish you guys all the best with your future. Like we've said before, keep an eye on the socials of all the bands that we are suggesting and playing through these shows, and you'll find out the latest news that they're going to be pushing out there on their socials. Right. Now it is time to head back after that incredible track to our special guest for this week, Perth-based actress Victoria Compson-Bradford. So Vicky, we've sort of touched on earlier on, literally just your initial step, shall we say, into dancing. Excuse the pun, there is no pun meant to be there. But looking at, obviously, you do have experience in several fields within the performing arts, singing, acting, and obviously we've talked about dancing. And I've also got written down here, puppeteer. Which one came first? Which one came first in the sort of the order of learning first? Obviously, we've talked about the dancing. What then came after the dancing?
So yeah, I started dancing, and then when I was about 9-10 years old, I got into singing lessons, doing mainly Scottish folk songs,
Okay.
and did Robert Burns competitions and stuff. And then from that, I used to do dance competitions, and I pushed my dance teacher to allow me to do song and dance stuff. That kind of pushed me into musical theatre.
Mm-hmm.
And then from there, I auditioned for Dance School of Scotland, like I said, and there we studied singing, acting, and dancing all together,
Okay.
interlinked. I think when I went there was the first time that I really got into working with scripts and doing proper acting work.
Okay, yeah.
And I was very lucky because I had a teacher there who called Tree Cummings, who was really formative and would really help me push the things I wanted to do, especially while I was quite shy at high school.
Okay.
And there were some big personalities in my year, and I was probably one of the quietest ones. So when I was there, I got really into reading plays, and I got really into just spending my time engrossed in as much theatre as I could get.
Mm-hmm.
And she really helped me and pushed me to read as much as I was. And at that point, I was reading like 3 plays a week. And I pretty much exhausted her theatre cupboard of just stuff. And that's when I really realized that I wanted to do acting.
Mm-hmm.
And coming into this, I'd always been told that I was going to be a dancer, I was going to be a singer, because that's the roots that I'd trained in and that's what I wanted to do. And probably acting was my weakest at that point, but it's what I was like, why not go for the hard route and go for the one that you're least trained in? So that really pushed me. My first year of like drama school auditions, I auditioned for mainly musical theatre schools, and I was lucky enough to get on a couple of reserve lists, and I was offered a place on a diploma course, but I was really interested in doing a degree because that's what I wanted to do.
Mm-hmm.
So I decided not to take it, and I went to Thailand for a couple months instead, and decided that I was just going to discover what I wanted to do and take my gap year and do really what I wanted.
Mm-hmm.
And then from then, I took another year, did another year of drama school auditions, and I got into East 15. And I didn't really, getting into the puppetry, I didn't really learn that at East 15. We touched on it in lectures and things like that, but we didn't really get into the actual hands-on puppetry. We did a bit of work with wayang shadow puppetry. But what I'm mainly interested in is bunraku, which is a Japanese form that's adapted over to the UK as more of a tabletop theatre, tabletop puppetry form.
Okay.
And I got into that through I found an interest in visual theatre, which is combining like puppetry, dance, singing, music, all different forms of theatre
Mm-hmm.
to make a really visceral performance. And I got really interested in that. And from that, I was like, "Ooh, I'm going to go do courses and study how to do this." And then I was like, "Ooh, I'm going to learn how to make a puppet." And I basically just kind of went out on my own and was like, "I like this. I'm going to go study it."
No, it's very important to have an enjoyment of something and getting involved, and also have the serious aspect of the performing and all that off to one side. But you mentioned East 15, which is my next sort of question that I was going to sort of ask you, and that was sort of what drew you to go down to study down in London?
Like I said, I did a whole year round, and then in my second year of auditions, I decided not to do any musical theatre and go for straight acting courses. And I actually didn't apply for East 15 in my first year round, and my gran is from Southend. So my gran had said to me, "Oh, there's this local drama school. You should go see what it's about." And I was like, "Oh, gran, like it's just thinking it was going to be like Jimmy McGee's drama school from down the road, just like a little one." And then I went to go see Warhorse, and in Warhorse there was like 6 people from East 15. And I was like, "East 15, where have I heard that?" And I was like, "Oh my God, that's the drama school that my gran was talking about." So then I applied for it with a couple of other ones, and I got engrossed into it by the charismatic leader of our course, Ramiro Silveira, who just is a very charismatic man, and sat us all down and kind of talked to us about what the course would involve. And it just sounded perfect. It was the first audition that I came out of, and I was like genuinely excited.
I came in peace now, but I'm leaving with evil. Gotta blame it on someone. I admit I had my fun. I played the game, but left unequal. Who do we blame it on? Who do we blame it on? Well, I never did you wrong. Who do we blame it on? Who do we blame it on? But now you've been gone for so long. I can't get you out of my mind. I can't get you out of my mind. I can't get you out. And it gets me down, it gets me down. I can't get you out. And it gets me down, it gets me down. Who do we blame it on? Who do we blame it on? Is it the man from your street? Who do we blame it on? Who do we blame it on? Or is it a man I can't see? I can't get you out of my mind. I can't get you out of my mind. I can't get you, I can't get you out. I can't get you, I can't get you out. I can't get you, I can't get you out. I can't get you, I can't get you out.
It's Moonlight Zoo here on Drumbeg Studio Podcast with Get You Out. The alternative pop band based in Dunfermline did not take long in wasting time in getting their name out in this industry. They shortly after forming decided to go busking out in Europe, and they've been lucky enough to play at some of the massive festivals of today, the Isle of Wight, Transmit, Bewfest and Party at the Palace, where they made their first main stage appearance. They've also had an STV experience playing at the Riverside show as well. But that song, Get You Out, was released on all your digital music platforms of today on the 25th of August last year. Many thanks, guys, for sending the track over and letting me play that on my show. I think it's fantastic. It's added to a fantastic lineup of songs that we've had in this week's show. Anyway, I want to wish you guys all the best with your future, whatever that entails, whatever you got lined up. And like I've said before, listeners, keep an eye on the socials of all the bands that we are playing in these shows to find out what news that they're going to be pushing out there as well. I just meant to mention, after I played Peplow's track, I believe the band is working on some new material. So they've got new songs coming out later on this year, I think. So if you keep an eye on their socials, if you loved Katrina's Got My Tongue, I'm sure they've got some more fantastic songs coming very soon in our direction, okay? Now, it is time to head back to our special guest for this week, actress Victoria Compson-Bradford, for the final time today. Well, Vicky, we've almost come to the end of this fantastic conversation. And just before you head off, I'd actually like to talk about the pantomime run of Beauty and the Beast at Eden Court in Inverness. That must have been some experience to be getting into an acting job and get part of a production like that, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a kind of change for me because I've only been out of drama school a couple of years, and mostly what I'd been doing before that was kind of TIE stuff and things like that, which is fabulous and great stuff to do. But I was really interested and wanted my kind of goal for 2019 as it was to get something a bit more structured and in the theatre, and I wanted to do a panto and do something that I could really sing with because I hadn't I wanted to do more stuff with my singing. So it was, a lot of fun. There was a lovely, lovely cast of just some wonderful, crazy, fun people, which was just really, really great. And I was lucky enough to go up there with one of my closest friends who was working on the ensemble. So I had people that I knew there, so it was a lovely first experience kind of going into that field. I was performing as the enchantress, so the kind of narrator and storyteller of the whole pantomime, and got the nice thing to get to do the fun stuff. Like I got to curse the beast and be magic, and that was a lot of fun. It was just a really lovely and informative kind of new learning curve for me, and it was so well done, so lovely. The director is a lovely man called Stephen Wren, and he was also playing the Damon, the thing, and he has such an amazing creative mind where we got to do these gorgeous scenes in them that just were very out of the box and very, you looking at them and they weren't stuff that you normally see in a lot of pantomimes.
Okay.
So it was just really, really lovely. And it had some fun stuff. I had to do a lovely costume change with a cape, which was sometimes was so clean and so beautiful, but I had a lovely little crown on, and sometimes no matter what would happen, the cape would just like smash into my face, and then I'd have to like back bend it out, and it was meant to be this beautiful, majestic transformation from the old lady that the beast is nasty to into this enchantress woman. And maybe for the first week of runs, I would just be attacked by a cape and nearly decapitate myself. And the one time we decided to record it, because we were like, we've got this, we've completely got this, it'll be fine. The one time we decided to record it, the only recording of it that we have from the sound booth of me doing it is where I'm absolutely smacked in the face by the cape. I have to completely backbend out of it. And it was so much fun, but it's just funny to look back on now. And I look back on that and I'm like, oh wow, what a lovely experience. Like, look at the videos I've got of myself, and I'm just like getting smashed in the face and trying to then be a strong, powerful character after just literally being smashed in the face by a cape. but such is life. The show must go on.
Exactly. Maybe not keep some of those videos for your show reels, shall we say?
Exactly.
Oh, well, it's been fantastic to get you on the show. I hope you've enjoyed yourself.
Yeah. It's been nice to have a little chat.
Yeah, it's been great. I've really enjoyed myself today. It's been a fantastic learning curve for myself, and we've thrown in a few laughs as well, which has been fantastic. Just to show that we're not completely serious. We do have some fun underneath us.
Yeah. Always good to have a little bit of fun.
Well, all the best. Cheers. See ya.
Bye.
Well, there you go. Wasn't that just amazing? A fantastic chat that me and Vicky had a few times, whenever that was. I can't remember when that was now. We had a fantastic... It was today. Of course, it was today. We had a fantastic chat today. No, it was great to catch up with Vicky. A great time finding out all the experiences that she's been up to in her life, how it started to where it is now. It is just an incredible story that she's got to tell. I just want to wish you, Vicky, all the best with your future. And again, many thanks for giving up your time for that fantastic interview. Thank you, listeners, for tuning in for this week. And again, if you are a new listener, I'm probably boring you by now, but do hit that subscribe button on my YouTube channel and you will get notified by YouTube every time I upload a new video onto our channel. Again, the music that we've had, Spylaw, way back at the beginning, can you remember them, yeah? We also had Peplo, a cracking track, and Moonlight Zoo finishing off what has been an amazing array of songs, I have to admit, for this week, even by my own standards, yeah? That's what we've got time for this week. We've run on a bit, I'm sorry. I hope you've enjoyed it. I'll be back in a couple of weeks' time for what I believe is the final show of this season 3. Until then, all the best. See ya.